episode 3. Let's say we start tearing down a Toyota. Alright guys, just a rundown. This week the goal is, want to get the cap off, get it out of the way, hopefully get the box unbolted, out of the way, rear bumper gone, get it up in the air, pull the wheels. We do need to get it running. I think I need an igniter for the ignition. It's had the battery on backwards a couple of times, or booster cable, so I'm thinking we may have an issue with that. Yeah, so enough of this babbling. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's tackle this cap first, guys. I think what we need to do is, they're on here, it looks like a little, up, if you can see up in there, there's a little 5/16 bolt. Let's see if we can get in there. See that guy there? There's a second one. I don't think there's 3, just 2 on each side. Second one at the back there. Now this cap we're not worried about, so I think what I'm going to do is take one of my handy dandy death wheels and we're just going to zip through right there, cutting the box side that we don't care about and that bolt in one fell swoop. That'll just save us some time and BS. But enough of my yammering. Oh, look at how pretty this thing is. Did I ever tell you that I probably should get more tetanus shots? Gotta love working in Northern Ontario, people. Alright, let's do it. Tiny shop, you know, not a lot of space. So, get this hinge undone. Yeah, they're cooperating. That's always a good sign. Let's get this tailgate out of the way. I like it when bolts come undone. These Toyotas have been pretty cooperative so far. Alright, there. A little bit of room in the back. Now, this tailgate's pretty crunchy, so we're not going to use it. And it looks like somebody's hacked the handle in. We do need a handle for the other one. So we're going to put this aside for the time being, because the inside of this one looks better than that one. So we'll probably end up using it. Parts of it anyways. Let's see. Frankenstein 2 tailgates is what we're going to end up doing. Alright guys, when you got to take the box off, why screw around? She was pretty rotten anyway, so you'll see the time lapse there. But this way, that box side's out of the way. So when we want to get these bolts out, look at that. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's the box bolts up there. I can see them all. So, you know what? If they don't want to come undone, I've got Mr. Oxyacetylene back here in the corner. So, you know what? Like they say, it can't be seized if it's a liquid. So, now you can see this bed floor is actually in really good shape compared to the other one. And that front is good. So, I'm going to zip the bolts out of here. And I'm probably going to run the Sawzall across up here somewhere afterwards. So that'll leave us lots of meat in the front to weld into that new one. Now, honestly, I should probably be taking this whole floor pan out, but that involves about 1,000 spot welds of grinding on both. And you do the math, I tell you, I may not be a high school grad, but I can tell you that's a lot of spot welds. So that side there, I'm about ready to call it a night this evening. I think the wife's about ready to shoot me if I don't get in the house soon. So let's call her a night, and yeah, we'll be back at her again tomorrow. We'll get this box off, get her up in the air. I'm waiting for a, as far as our engine goes, I do believe it is, the culprit is that little igniter they call it down there underneath the coil. It's kind of like a CDI box on a snowmobile. So basically, to say it, your ignition, your pulse coil, whatever you want to call it in here, sends the signal back here, which triggers this to cut the negative, which triggers this to send a spark. That sucker ain't doing its job. I did ohm out the coil and the trigger coil, you'd call it, in there. So other than that, everything else seems good on the engine. So I'm waiting to get that. Hopefully I'll have one of those tomorrow, and we'll put that in and have this thing running. So, and of course we got to take this beast off the front here. I think I might have to get the engine crane to lift that beast off there. And of course, whoever put it on there didn't want the bolts to come undone, so I know you can't see it down there, but they put a nice blob of weld on. They tightened the bolts up and then they welded the nuts. So we're going to be at that sucker either with the torch or the grinder, and we'll cut the bolts out of it, and we'll put new ones in when the time comes to put this back on. And we're probably going to do a video on how to rebuild this beast of a worn winch, because I'd hate to see it go to scrap. So I don't even know what that is. If any of you guys ever done one of these, feel free to chime in. Like I said, guys, for tonight, I'm calling her a day. Be good.
Unit ready for a chain. I'm kind of looking at it this morning, guys. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something looks different about it. Yeah, I can't quite tell what, but something just ain't the same. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Either way, I got some stuff for this. Got us some stuff to whip us up a little chain hook on the end of this. Good thing I did some research.
Tiny shop like I do, not to brag, you do need to get yourself a set of casters. They make life so much easier. As long as you got good concrete to roll on. Let's get these under here and I'll bring you back. Alright, let's see if we can get to the other side now. What did we get? Oh, the Bondo on the floor. See if we can get rid of that. What are the odds? It's the one piece of something stuck to the concrete. And something's got to hit it. That Bondo's been there for over a year. No more. Let's try that again. Alright. Oh yeah. Look at that. Let's move the top of the front over a bit. Give it some space. Woohoo! Alright. There we go. There's more like it. More like it. Whew. So we got the sides both off now. The Hackmaster here is taking care of it quicker. Like I said, I could have just got under and undone the bolts, but being a rusty old truck like it is, I just spent more time wrestling with bolts and getting it the hot wrench just to get at them. This way, I can get right to them. So if I do want to put them with the hot wrench, like I say, it can't be seized if it's a liquid. We can get at it a lot easier. So next I want to get this roll pan, I call it, that little pan across the back of the box. This one's in really good shape, so even if I don't use it on this truck, somebody else might need it. So I'm going to cut it up into the bed here a bit so I maintain that lip. I've got both lips on the sides there. So let's get the old torch going. Couple of lights to unplug. One there, and one there. One good roll pan. I think next, maybe what we're going to try and do, not even going to try and undo those either. I think we're just going with the zip cut. Wonder if we can get this bed out of the way now. I think I'm going to cut this off across here. See if we can't zip those bolts off. I would like to save a couple of pieces of this bed because it's pretty solid and it comes in handy for patching other beds. So let's get this out of the way. And move on to see if we can uncut and see if we can cut these bastards. What do you think? Is it going to cooperate? Alright guys, so I skipped the boring part of cutting the bolts on this side, but we got the bed, back half anyways, cut. Now if you remember, when I cut the other bed apart, I lined it off the front of the wheel wells when I cut it across. So I'm going to come back here to this cross member and I'm going to leave lots of meat on this end, but one quick cut and this is out of here. So let's find that edge there, so let's come back to here. That should be off the truck. Slide her off the back here. Let's see what we forgot to disconnect that we just cut. Anything? No, I think we made it, guys. You know, things look pretty solid under here. Let me get this out of the way. Alright guys, we got that bed out of the way. Yeah, you know, the frame looks pretty solid, but it's kind of fuzzy, like I said. So, but the brake lines, they're actually surprisingly clean. So, I'm going to leave them be for the time being. I think the next step, I don't think the owner's ever going to put a spare tire under here again. I'll have to talk to him about that. Because that mechanism, they are a pain in the hind quarters. But I think our next step, I want to get this bent up nasty looking old bumper off the back and buy us a little more room in the shop. Now the bolts, this frame's a little bent on the back here, but we can straighten that out. That's easy enough. That looks like someone put something a little too heavy on the bumper maybe. I don't think it was meant to pull that much weight. But let's just do a quick walk around here, give you guys a look. It is going to get all new brakes anyways. Probably new brake cables for the parking brake. We're going to replace as much. The whole exhaust system is getting replaced. That'll all be new. New shocks. He wants new shocks, so we'll see if they're going to come undone, or they look like they're on studs. So I think I'm gonna lube the living daylights out of them right now. See if we can get them pickled. And yeah, other than that, we're making progress. We are making progress. So I'm gonna put it back up on the tripod there, and yeah, you see I did keep that front panel we need for the other box is still on there. I'm gonna really try and get the bolts out up there off the body mounts, because I don't want to tweak this and pull on it as much, or I want to pull on it and tweak it as little as possible, because you'll notice like well, guys, it's come to the point this week where I just can't take it anymore. The shop, tiny little shop, is full of, well, it's a lot of it Toyota. So I'm going to put you guys on time lapse and find my workbench again, and maybe we'll get rid of some of this bigger stuff out of here, the engine crane and planer and table saw and such that don't need to be here, and see if we can't just, yeah, find the shop again. So I'm going to time lapse this and we'll get out of here. Alright guys, let me get rid of this background noise.
There's a car that...
Alright, so we got the electronics figured out somewhat. I haven't looked at a cooling system. I had to blow out the fuel system when no one was looking, don't worry. We sent her back through the line. I don't know what's in the fuel pump or the carburetor. I know it coughs when I give her a little brake clean. Excuse me. I've got my temporary fuel system hooked up. Now, I took the old tank out. It's right there. We're going to clean that up and see what we can save, but the sending unit, like I said earlier, is shot. So, we've got a battery. We now have spark. We have fuel. Let's see if she's going to fire up and hopefully idle. Now, like I said, guys, I'm not a big fan of using the brake cleaner for starting, but in this case, I just want it to cough and draw some fuel. Alright, neutral, and let's see what she does. We're drawing fuel, that's a good sign. One more time. Alright, that's pretty dark in the filter, but I know it's brand new gas in that tank. So, let's give her another squirt. Let's maybe see if it likes WD-40. At least that's got some lubricant value to it. Alright. WD. What was I thinking, eh? It was worth a try. Never tried it before. Heck. Anything with a lubricant, right? Okay, back. We got us a bottle with some gas. Let's give her a little squirt. Just enough. Put that off to the side. Try this again. That's better. I really got to get me one of them I got no friend switch. One more time. See if we can get some fuel up into this thing. Pump seems to be working. It is drawing. On the filter, I can see it. Alright. Once again. Just enough. Okay, maybe it needs a little gas now. Alright guys, well, I still can't seem to get this thing to run right, but I got a couple other things. I think we got the idle circuit's definitely dirty, and as you guys can hear, when it is running there, the timing sounds way out of whack. And when we look at the distributor over here, I don't know if you can see in there. Let me see if I can get a shot of it. But yes, it seems to be advanced as far as it'll go down there. So, I think maybe when the timing chain was put in and the head gasket done, that perhaps they got the distributor out by a tooth or two maybe. So starting next week, when we start the next video, we're going to pull that distributor and see if we can't bring it up to number 1 and see where we're pointing and go from there. So yeah, I think that'll be our next step, and we'll check the oil and get onto the brakes and whatnot. Like I say, I gotta have this thing ready for paint in 2 weeks, so we got a lot of work to do. Let's get at her. Alright guys, well, that's going to be our video for this week. I think we'll close her out there. I'm going to try and keep these around the 20-minute mark. Like I said, I got enough footage now to do a couple hours on this one, I think. We'll save them for later. Like I say, we got the box off, we got frame all cleaned up, fuel system out, and a temporary one installed. We did get it running. Like I say, we're going to look at that timing and that idle circuit yet. See if we can get it running a little better. This week we're going to, as well, coming up, I want to get that winch off, get this fender changed, and yeah, this interior, like I say, get a hazmat suit out and get this thing cleaned out. But, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and don't do what I do unless you got bail money. Have a great day, guys.